Live from Fondren Library on the beautiful campus of Southern Methodist University in the Big D. This is the Mustang Mood Podcast.
Woo!
Let's go. We are so back, baby.
Yeah.
We are so back.
We're definitely still in Fondren Library.
Yeah. For sure.
I think so.
And we actually have something to be excited about for basketball.
There's books.
Yes.
I am
Hit it.
so excited to have someone else head coach.
Anyone else? Did you care?
Just anybody.
Anybody else.
Anybody, just
someone
a body.
who's gone to the tournament, someone who's won games in the tournament, someone who beat us in the tournament.
Yep.
Then we beat him next year. We beat him next year. But he's literally, when we talk about Moody Magic, he was the guy who was coaching the opposite team of the last time there was Moody Magic.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about the USC game
The
last
USC
episode,
game,
right?
yeah. That is the benchmark for me of what Moody Magic.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the best I ever experienced.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
And so I am so pumped to have Coach Enfield here. He's a Mustang, and I think it's really going to be great for us. I've got to admit, my hopes were really high. I was texting all you guys in the podcast in our group chat that we would get someone who is really exceptional, and I was throwing out names like Coach K, and then the idea of Coach Cal was thrown out there after his loss. But I think that Coach Enfield is a really, really great hire. I think he's going to fit our culture well. I think he's going to be able to recruit. And this is something we talked about in the last episode is our basketball team has not been able to do what our football team's done and recruit well out of the transfer portal and especially locally. I think there's so much great basketball talent here in the Metroplex that, man, the sky's the limit. And we're in the best basketball conference in the world.
Yeah.
And this is our time. We made a move. So thank you.
Big move.
Thank you, Rick Hart.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you're welcome, because we are the ones that got him fired.
Oh, yes.
Really,
True. Yeah.
Of course.
Really, thank you, David Miller, for making everything happen.
David, good job, David.
I think we released
Thank you,
this on a
David.
Monday, and then what was
Sunday
it,
night,
Tuesday or Wednesday that
They
we found
announced
out?
it, Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that can't be a coincidence, right?
Yeah.
I think it was Thursday because we played on Wednesday. We played the NIT.
Oh,
on
you're
Wednesday
right.
night,
Yeah.
And then Thursday, he got fired.
Still.
And
That was tough.
yeah. And hey, Rob, thank you for everything you've done for the university.
Mm-hmm.
Wish you the best at Rice. Have fun
Absolutely.
in Houston.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we made a good move that shows that we're ready to be in a great basketball conference.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I think I'll share some statistics on Enfield. 7 of the last 9 years at USC, they had 21 plus wins, which is pretty good. USC is not really a basketball school. In 11 years at USC, he made the tournament 5 times. It was really 10 because of the COVID year. It was canceled. They had a record that they most likely would have made it that year. One year they made an Elite 8 run. And then, as Jay mentioned with recruiting, they had 3 top 10 classes in a row, and they've had 10 top 30 classes in a row, which we talked last time about our recruiting classes. We haven't had a top 30 class since, I don't know what it was, 2017 maybe, something like that. So I think there's a lot to be positive about, for sure.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think about the concerns about how he is an exceptional recruiter, but he hasn't been able to do much with it lately?
Yeah. Is it a Jimbo Fisher type of thing where he recruits really well and then just
I doubt
lays
we're
an egg?
paying him that much, but
Also true. I hope not.
Who knows how much we're
but
paying
what,
him? We don't have to
what do
say.
y'all think? What do y'all think though?
I mean, we're at no success right now.
Yeah.
David Miller talked about it on the day I said at his reception at the announcement. It's like we've gone to the tournament 3 times in the last 30 years or something like that.
Yeah.
And he's been what did you say 8 times?
5 times in 10 years.
5 times in 10 years.
Well,
So-
it would be more with Florida Gulf Coast, but yeah, 5 at USC.
5 at USC, and then he went 1 or 2 FGCU.
I think it was once, but
Just
it might have
once.
been more than once. I think he was only
And
there
then
2 years.
and he had an NIT year as well. So,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So postseason more than not is way better than what we've had.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mm-hmm.
It's a step up. You're saying it's a step up.
It's a step up. Am I concerned about it? A little bit, yeah.
I do think, though, this last year, I mean, everybody has probably been talked about already, but they had so many injuries. I don't think they never really had a chance because their best player was out most of the year. And their other top recruit, Bronny James, wasn't very good.
Yeah.
Dude, all that talk of him coming to SMU is so funny.
I know.
Well, initially we thought his girlfriend was here, but turns out
Right,
it's his
his
ex.
So it is. Is that confirmed?
That's what I mean.
Okay.
I don't know if any of it's ever confirmed, but
Strongly thought of to be that.
I don't want him. That's all I'm saying.
I just thought.
I mean, I wouldn't say.
I just
I
thought
wouldn't say no.
I mean,
I would.
Sure. I just thought it'd be funny to see LeBron James and George W. Bush sitting
Side by side.
Yeah, sitting on the sideline.
You think they'd sit together? I don't think LeBron
Sitting
likes
courtside.
I don't think he likes W.
He may not be a big fan. But how soon do you think that he can turn it around? Because he's a great recruiter, but sometimes we're coaches that are specialize in recruiting. It takes them a couple of years. Do you think that we're going to make the tournament year one?
No.
I mean, ACC is going to be a lot tougher.
I don't think we'd expect to. I mean,
yeah, I don't expect it. I think with football, like I think we have some expectations going into the season, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that soon, this episode. But with basketball, there's kind of zero expectation.
Mm-hmm.
At least for me. I don't know about y'all.
Yeah.
So what is the? I mean, if we had a hope, if we have no expectations, do we have any hopes for it? I mean, we're not hoping to win the
NC
ACC
State
tournament
situation, 10 seed, then go 10 seed in the ACC, and then go to the Final Four. I mean, the sky's the limit.
It can be done.
Yeah,
we've seen it. Yeah,
it is possible.
That's not bad.
Yeah, one thing I want to touch on as far as coaching staff is concerned, it's good to see more people from USC coming to SMU. I saw today Chris Kapko, which apparently is his one of his best recruiters, one of his associate head coaches, has come with them to SMU. So that's a big deal. Apparently he's been recruiting for SMU all week. So
dang,
that's what I love to hear.
Yeah,
I think I read he was the primary recruiter on what's his name, Perry, I think, Mason Perry, something like that. I should have done better research, but what I was wondering what you guys thought about the press conference. I just wanted to note a couple of things that I noticed. He mentioned the conference, obviously, location, academics, but then he also talked about NIL support. And so I think we heard that at USC he didn't have great NIL support. We hear that they have a lot of donors, but they poured into football, not basketball. And so if he's already recruiting as well as he did with not as much NIL support, it makes you wonder how much better could he do here. I know we're not USC in terms of like sports history, but still, I mean, we're in a great location, best conference, good academics, and now a lot of NIL. I think we could be major players there.
Yeah, 100% agree.
For sure.
My expectation is not missing the ACC tournament.
Okay.
That's good.
That's kind of our...
Whereas last time we talked, I think my expectation was that we were going to miss the ACC tournament.
I think now, there's no excuse for him to not be able to achieve that.
Exactly.
Like.
Yeah.
So a successful season is us making the ACC tournament, even if we get a first round knockout.
It'd be sad.
It'd be sad, but it's still, hey, first year in, we're fine with this.
We're not the worst three in the conference.
I'd say middle of the pack,
Exactly.
like about average in the conference would be, good for our first year, I think.
If we could win a game in the conference, I'd say, in the conference tournament, I'd say it's a good season.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it's definitely a big rebuild, no doubt.
And we'll talk about it a year from now, and hopefully we're wrong, and we're in, I don't know where the Final Four is next year, but we're there, sitting there, talking to them on press
Heck
day.
yeah.
So
I'd love to see it.
I would, we're there. If we're at the Final Four, we're going to be there.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll make that commitment now.
Mm-hmm.
1,000%.
Yeah.
From now until the day I die, that's going to be true. I'm going to be there.
It doesn't matter if we're doing
there.
the podcast or not. We'll be there. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, facts. I think one other thing I noticed is he talked about the city of Dallas and the community specifically, getting them back involved, which made me think that that's something they discussed, that the admin is aware that there hasn't been the community and city buy-in like there has for football. And so that makes me think they know that's happening and that there's something they're going to start doing to change that. We talked about that last time too.
They must have listened to our podcast.
Exactly. You see, that's what I'm saying.
We've
Look
got
at all
some
the things
real
we talked
influence
about.
in the basketball.
We convinced Rick
That's
Hart
what
to
we're- yeah.
fire Rob, and now we've got them in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Follow football.
So I think I think there's going to be a similar marketing ploy or something where they're we really need to get Dallas back on our side, just like they have for football. Because I think the city's responded pretty well. And so I think that if we get that with basketball, we could have get back to Moody Magic like we talked about.
Yeah.
What do you think that would be? Would that be getting a lot of Power 5 teams to come to Moody before, instead of playing Houston Christian in basketball, we going to try to get Kentucky or someone like that to come, or what would that look like? How do we get the city of Dallas to come to SMU?
I think it's a good start that we have Duke coming.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a
So
big
getting
one.
big
that's,
teams in there.
halfway through the season.
But also just getting big wins. Having I remember when we started our freshman year, it was some crazy home game win streak,
Yeah.
right? So if we just win games at home, people will come,
Yep.
I mean, if we can't fill up 7,000 seats in Dallas, what are we doing? Which is what we've been doing. 7,000. That's it.
I think there's kind of two sides to the coin of that in Dallas. All right. Okay. In Lubbock, if you can't fill up 7,000 seats, like you're really messing up because there's nothing else to do.
That's true.
But,
That's a good point.
you know, we've got
Yeah.
other things to do in Dallas.
we're competing against
That's
other,
true.
Exactly.
Yeah,
shops.
that's a good point.
But there's no reason that we can't fill it up
yeah.
at all. Yeah.
No.
It's
Yeah.
been done before. It will be done again, I believe, under
Agree.
this coach's tenure. So,
Yeah.
yeah. I think if we got a big non-conference game, like we had at A&M this year, that game was pretty exciting. If we had something like that again next season, I think it would be like the icing on the cake to get people back involved before we even make a decision on whether, like if we're 0-15 going into the Duke game or whatever,
No one's gonna. Well,
no one's going to, I mean,
people would still go for Duke, but
I think SMU
Right.
people might not go. But
yeah,
Well, I
Exactly.
don't know.
so that's why if we go early in the season, our expectations are high and we'll see what happens. And then you get people to start buying in early. That's why, if like, you know, as much as I love playing Lamar and incarnate word in basketball in the preseason, but it doesn't do anything for our program. And so if we could play someone big outside of a battle for Atlantis or whatever, like let's bring someone to Moody in the non-conference and really fill it.
Do we
I like
know?
it.
Do we know how soon? Because I know in football the non-conference schedule is like they're like 10 years ahead or whatever. Do we know basketball? I've never really thought about that.
I don't know.
I don't think they released the basketball schedule like they did for football.
Like,
For
oh,
the
you're talking about
ACC.
non-conference?
Oh, non-conference. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know if you make commitments that far in advance.
I don't know how that works.
I think
I'm
we did
wondering
like a home and home with A&M, which is why
Mhm.
we got them this year.
Okay.
But it seemed like that happened like the summer before the first game,
Really?
not like 2 years in advance.
Not like
Like
you
we're
play,
playing
you
OU
play,
again
and
in
then 4 years
2027.
later you play them again. Yeah.
Speaking of, did you know Moody Coliseum was opened in 1956?
Did. And they were the home of the Dallas Texans or something like that, which ended up becoming the San Antonio Spurs.
Hmm.
Whoa.
I mean, they've done a good job. Obviously, they renovated, but
Yeah, it's so nice.
it looks very new.
Yeah. Thanks again,
Mhm.
David Miller. We really appreciate
Yeah.
it.
You're
I
the
love
goat.
your
money
court.
that
Good
you-
job.
Facts.
Yeah. He deserves it.
Mm.
Any other basketball talk?
Yeah, I think we'll see in the next few weeks. We'll continue to talk about it, but
Yeah.
how we do in the transfer portal.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
hopefully we get some
Yeah.
big names. Yeah, sad to see Linear leave, but understand that he's going with going with his dad. But
Yeah.
At the same time, we
Yeah.
may get some flipped recruits as well. So who knows?
yeah, I would like to. I've seen that 2 or 3 have requested releases from USC. So
Yeah. I mean,
We'll
we
see.
may get one of them, and who knows? We'll just need
that'd
to
be
see.
great.
I think one of them said it was he would commit based on like relationships or something. Obviously, that doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be Enfield, but it sounds positive.
Yeah.
So I think the one last thing I wanted to say about basketball is specifically what he talked about. He talked about defense first. He talked about playing up-tempo offense, and then he talked about bringing excitement back. So again, I think they know that the excitement around the program's been low, and that's something we need to target. And so, I mean, that sounds good to me. I mean, I think we need some excitement back, like we talked about again. And so I think it's there's reason to be excited about it going forward.
Yeah. No, I'm definitely excited. Definitely will be renewing my season tickets. this
Oh yeah,
summer.
for sure.
You have to.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Even it was worth it before if Rob was coaching and if it was guaranteed we get beat up by Duke, it's still worth it for the $99.
Oh yeah, for
But
sure.
now that
Honestly-
we're
I
excited,
honestly wasn't sure. And then once we got the new coach, I was like, all right, let's go. Let's ride.
See, Jay
So-
and I had the foresight.
Yeah.
Mm.
You knew something was going to happen.
Yeah.
I was
I
too
told you guys
negative.
about it. Put it in the group chat. Say, hey, $99.
Yeah.
That's true.
Lock in the same price for the next year. Yeah.
And Walker was the only one.
I only went to one game too.
That's right.
It was
But it's
worth
worth
every
it. It's
penny
totally worth it.
for next year.
It will be. It will be worth it.
Well, we'll see how much they go up, and then I can tell you guys how much it was worth it. We'll see.
Yeah. Well, so we were talking about engaging the city of Dallas, and we're here fresh off of the SMU spring football game.
Yeah.
And I'd say
Mhm.
this city of Dallas is pretty engaged with SMU football.
I was
Yeah,
surprised.
great
I
turnout.
was, yeah. I was shocked at how many people were there.
Yeah. Did not expect it. Yeah.
It was
A
fun.
Great turnout,
Yeah.
especially for off campus.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah. Excited about Ford, being done, being renovated, but
It'd be sweet.
Yep.
But yeah, great turnout for a high school football stadium.
Yeah.
Great turnout. A lot of recruits in high school I was seeing going by.
Lots of recruits
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Lots
It
of
was
excitement.
very
about it.
encouraging to see it.
Yeah. So you guys were taking notes like you were sitting in class. So what do you got? What are some pickups from?
Stone Ebby.
Stone Ebby. Anybody
Circle
with the
his
name
name.
Stone, we love him.
Circle his name. He's going to be a star this year. He's our new Tyler Levine. Stone, we're going to tag you in this. There's our short right here. Stone, we want you on the
We
pod,
love
man.
you already.
You want to be our first NIL athlete? We got $20 for you.
Before we get into specifics about players, one thing I noticed that made me ill was we still have the AC jersey logo on the jerseys.
We haven't switched
No,
over
I
yet.
know.
Technically started,
But I hope
But it
to never
bothers you?
see it again. Made me sick. I had to go throw up in the bathroom.
See, I didn't.
Just kidding.
That's where you were.
Yes.
they were off the helmets, but they were still on the jerseys.
Mm.
It's like, man,
Mm-hmm.
We're halfway
would've-
there.
I would have gone in with a scene ripper. Like, if you invited me, I could have gotten it done.
Mm.
Could they have gone just without it?
I think you can go without, surely, because the quarterbacks weren't wearing patches
Yeah.
on their red jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We should have.
We're still technically a part of the American Conference, so I'm not mad about it right now. But
Unfortunately.
It'll be gone. It'll be gone.
I'm excited for ACC football.
It's a great hat.
Let's
Thank
go.
you.
It is.
Thank you. I'm really pumped. This is our shot. And we talk about there's been a lot of hate on Twitter this week of SMU fans who are just buying their way in to all these opportunities. But we've been
What's wrong with that?
so out of opportunities for so long.
We bought our
It's
way
fine.
out of opportunities. Now we're buying our way back in. I think that's fair. That's fair,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Do a lot of fans just not realize that money makes the football world go round too? Like, do they really
We're the
think?
only ones
Yeah,
that
like-
are just
like we-
out and about
We've
about
got, we've
Yes.
got, you know, like these purists out there that are just like, oh, college football is just not going to be the same anymore with these NIL deals. And
And don't get me wrong, it hurts my heart a little bit for us to just pay players. Like it's not the same
Yeah.
game. It's not the same when you just enter the transfer portal to see who's going to pay them the most
Yeah.
money. You know, that's why Saban stepped down. He's like,
Yeah.
man, I can't do this.
but
It's not the same game.
but as an SMU fan,
I
I feel like
love
you
it.
have to buy into
Yeah.
it, right?
It's the greatest.
Because it's, I mean, obviously, like the money is there, but I think it's also just I buy into it because of the story.
Yeah.
In a sense, like it's just in our history, and so if we were to be against it, it just wouldn't make any sense, you know? Like
Right.
Yeah, you almost have to embrace the persona that we've been given now.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I do all those bits about like us being rich. You know, it's just you got to
Exactly.
lean into it. You know,
Yeah.
Oh
They
yeah,
didn't like it before, and now we're doing the exact same thing, and they still don't like it.
and they're gonna really hate it when we start beating them.
Facts.
Yeah. What are y'all's expectations going in? We talked about this maybe a little bit on the first podcast, but now we've seen the spring game. We've seen a little bit, it's a spring game. Stone only played just a little bit, but what are our real expectations going into the 2024 season in April?
Jennings looked okay. He had some good moments.
Hope we don't see him too much this season.
Yeah, I think he definitely needs some more practice, some more development. He had a lot of overthrown passes, I thought.
He looked good on his feet though.
Yeah, dude,
was very
dude is
mobile.
Fast.
quick.
I
Gotta
could
give him
see a 2 quarterback situation thing happening where
Do those ever really work out though?
no,
Yeah. Okay.
neither are very
If you
good.
have 2,
in
you
that
have
case.
0. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I think if we just work on his decision making, his pass game, just a little bit, he's almost there. And we saw like glimpses of greatness when he had to play this past year, and he got it done for us.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Definitely.
And he's only going to get better, And so I think another year with Preston Stone leading the way, Jennings getting some good reps, good practice. I'm sure he'll get some game time. Well, I don't want to say that because I don't want Stone to get injured again, but
Well, if we're up in some of our smaller
Yeah,
games,
yeah.
he'll definitely see the field.
And I'm excited about future too. Keelan Russell in the future, he's class of 2025, a great quarterback out of Duncanville. And so we'll see. I think that quarterback position is kind of taken care of for the next several years. I
Yeah,
think it's going
for
to be
sure.
sorted well.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I think, Stone's going to be great for us while we have him. And then I'm not concerned about what's going to happen afterwards.
Not at all. No.
Yeah,
Well, we got to finish the job first.
Exactly. Yeah.
The recruitment is recruiting is a crazy game.
Knock on
yeah.
wood.
it is. But to Jay's question about expectations this year, something that Jay and I were talking about in the spring game is one of the big differences that we saw, I mean, it was last year, this year, but it's different now than what it used to be, is the size of our offensive and defensive lines. I mean, we just have men.
Those guys are
in the
huge.
trenches.
Like, I think, biggest line that I've ever seen at SMU.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
It's awesome to see it. We can actually go helmet to helmet with some of these, power teams.
Yeah,
and it's
for sure.
It's what we needed. We wouldn't have been able to compete in the ACC without it. And so now this really gives us the footing that we need to actually make a splash if we want to.
Yeah, it is so fantastic. I remember thinking back on the Louisiana Tech game from last season, and I'm not too detailed when I'm watching football. I'm not, noticing every little thing, but man, when 5-6 plays in a row, all the Louisiana Tech offensive linemen are on their backs and at the end of the play, I'm like, man,
it's a good feeling.
These guys can play.
Yeah.
This is awesome. I'm very excited about that. And you have to be there to be in the Power 3.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just the expectation. So I'm excited to see them play against, these power conference teams, see where we actually end up. And then speaking of things we're keeping from last year that are big success from previous seasons is Scott Simons. Thank God that he's still here.
Yeah.
I mean,
he could have left for sure.
Without a doubt. And so whoever, made that happen for him to stay is, big thanks.
Thank you.
Big thanks.
Thanks, Scott, for staying. And we're big fans of yours, and you've done great things for our school. And so, really excited about that, about Scott staying and about our defense continuing to look like, man, a group of men. Work out there.
Yeah.
So
I think with Scott Simons, I think with our defense, I think we're actually going to be able to compete defensively with almost any team in the ACC. I think that we're actually going to be able to hang with almost anybody. And we saw it last year with OU. I mean, we were already hanging with them for almost the entire game.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to have the same thing happen this year. I think our defense is going to be locked in. I think they're going to do awesome. And the biggest question mark will be, can we get our offense running? Can we get, RJ Maryland going? I mean, there's an article this last month that he was the top tight end prospect in college football for this year coming up out of all the schools in Texas. And, if he can go off, if we can get some of these receivers going, I saw some great plays from some receivers that we haven't seen before. But if we can get the offense going, I think we're going to be a dangerous team that everyone's going to be kind of nervous going into playing us.
Yeah. There were some new receivers. I don't remember their names, but they were looking good. Moochie Dixon had some great plays. He's looking solid. He may be in the running for our star receiver this year. I definitely think that's a possibility.
He looked good.
I really do think we need like a go-to Rasheed Rice. Making better decisions off the field, of course.
Talk about that later.
But
we'll definitely talk about that.
Man.
But I think somebody needs to step up and really ascend. I think I really want to see Jordan Hudson ascend because he hasn't so far, and obviously in the spring game he was kind of quiet. Again, it's a spring game, but we need somebody I think to really become the number one receiver. Like, it's great to have a committee. We have a lot of talented players. But I think we need somebody that really is just going to step up and take charge. Because I think that was missing last year. I mean, I know we ended up running the table in the conference, but I still think we were missing that.
Yeah, it was more receiver by committee rather than our star.
Yeah.
I think Moochie Dixon has the chance to be that guy.
For sure.
He looked good today. He had a long, 30, 40-yard touchdown reception. Looked good. More than the wide receiver position, I'm more concerned about the running back position.
Yeah.
When you talk about, running back by committee was definitely a theme last season. No one, ran away with it as far as, hey, man, I want this job. This is my time to shine. No one did that, and I expected more from especially Kamar Wheaton last season. I think he didn't have quite the performance that I think some fans hoped he'd have, and so he looked good today though. Had a long, 60-yard touchdown run.
Yeah, he had a big one.
Then
he had a big run later in the game too, but then
he fumbled it.
He fumbled it. Yeah.
Love to see Rhett just make him. He overturned the call on the play to.
Yeah. So the refs called it down.
He called him down,
and then Rhett was like, "No, this is a fumble. We're going the other way."
What's funny too
is pay for it.
Is I was reading before or during the game that the referees that are there, they're like lower tier referees, and they're trying to work their way up to Division I.
Mm-hmm.
But they got overturned by a coach, so I don't think they're
quite ready.
I don't think they're going anywhere. No,
just yet.
They're fine.
Before we get too deep into the players, we were talking about the O line.
Yeah.
And the line guys. I had a couple guys I wanted to call out. These were the only notes I took, or these two guys. Y'all have like full pages, but Nate Anderson, number 69, he's on the O-line. I am going to put my vote in for him as the player with the best hair.
By far.
SMU's Quinn Ewers. Looks awesome.
Freshman, or I guess sophomore Quinn Ewers' hair.
Yeah.
Sophomore
Quinn Ewers' hair.
Yeah.
Before he shaved
but
it off.
He's got highlights.
Much better.
Bleached highlights, yeah.
Good looking man.
Looks great. Also, Savion Byrd, number 54, he was literally picking up and throwing people down. I don't know if y'all saw that because you were watching all of the playmakers.
Yeah.
But this dude was making plays on the line.
Really?
Yeah.
Throwing people around. Not even kidding. Yeah.
Hey, and they're both OU transfers. There's a pipeline there going back and forth. Apparently, our center, our ex-center, he's taking a visit to OU this week because OU, their center got hurt. So I think that's the biggest question mark for me is the O-line because we had 2 starters who were in the transfer portal. And then obviously today Logan Parr and Ben Sparks are injured. So who's going to step up on that line? Is it going to be those 2 guys? I really like the fire that Nate Anderson showed. I saw him pushing some guys late, like after the play was over and jawing at them. I like to see that attitude with the hair. So that's going to be, I think that's going to make our offense either make or break because Stone, all the receivers, they can be as good as they are, but if we can't block, it doesn't matter. So,
and if we have those snaps over the quarterback's head, we're going to be in trouble too.
Yeah,
so
we had a couple of those. Yeah.
2 of them, yeah.
It's a little concerning. It's still spring. Everyone's kind of getting used to each other. But we got to shore that up before the season starts.
For sure.
Yeah. And also it's spring ball.
It's
we're reading into this
We're
probably a little too much.
Yeah.
We're taking
But-
what we have.
Exactly. Yeah.
We believe in our players. If any of the players are watching, I mean, we believe in you guys. We want you guys to do well.
Behind y'all 100%. For
Yeah,
sure.
we're behind you guys 100%.
Yeah. I think
We will be the loudest in the stands.
100%.
Jay will be the loudest in the
Sorry.
stands.
That's true. He
On
will
the
be.
sidelines because we're getting those press credentials.
I hope, yeah.
That'd be awesome.
I
We'll be
think
on the
that's
sidelines with you guys.
Yeah, I think the last thing I want to say about the offense is, I think there's question marks in the wide receiver room, like we talked about. But I really like where our slot receivers are. Jake Bailey looked awesome. Roderick Daniels looked really good in the second half. I think we have some really good, quick, fast slot guys that can get open, in the under area and in the middle of the field. And I think that's a really big help to the quarterback. And then obviously, once RJ Maryland, I mean, I think he'll be fine. He didn't really do much today, but having those guys in the middle of the field as your secondary options, well, not RJ, but I think it's only going to help the quarterback even more. So I think we look good right there for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Jake Bailey impressed me a lot. I mean, he was quick. He was
fast.
he was catching, bullets. He could be like our Cole Beasley.
He's the type of guy who
way
just
back
gets
when.
open.
Yeah,
I think he
open.
did that last year. He was pretty good last year too.
If I picked one offensive skilled player to have a very solid season, I feel very comfortable saying that he'll have a solid season. There's some that we think, sky's the limit. I don't know if the sky's the limit with Bailey, but I think he's going to have a very solid
He's dependable.
season.
Yeah, I get
He's
what
going to be
you're saying.
dependable for us. And then one last shout out for a player on the D line.
You're really crinkling that paper a lot.
Yeah, well,
I'm sure our
it's-
listeners really love that. Yeah.
Sorry about that. But Amari Arbor, I think he's the OU transfer that we had, or maybe he's Oregon. Where did he come from?
I think he's Oregon.
No, Ohio State. Sorry,
Oh, that's right.
I'm all over the place. But that dude he's quick off the edge. He forced a fumble. I mean, he's powerful. I think he's going to have a great season with us.
Wait, hold on. Let's not forget he went to Ohio State.
He did, but
can't
he
cheer
got
for
out of
him.
there. He got out of there. He's in his redemption.
He's home now.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
I hate Ohio State, so
He's in a redemption arc right now.
You're right.
And he's going to have
Okay,
an
you're
awesome
right.
season, I think. I think he's going to have a breakout season.
he still has something to prove to me, though. He has to prove he shed the Buckeye filth on him. I hate Ohio State. I'm sorry.
We literally have a guy from TCU on our team, and you don't care that much about it.
I've hated Ohio State longer. I don't know.
Oh man.
What else did we? Who else
They're
did we
Mustangs
see?
now.
Yeah. Who else did we see on defense? I thought the blue team defense, I mean, they dominated. I thought Jonathan McGill was locked in at corner. I thought the secondary they played very well. What was his name? Muhammad. He looked pretty
Abdul
good
Muhammad
too. He
had a
kind of
pick.
popped in
Yep.
the second half. I think we're going to be very strong in that area. Obviously, we have some big guys up front too, and I think Ahmad Walker and Kilgore, they look really good at linebackers. So I feel like we're in a really, really solid place. I think we're just building depth at this point, which is exciting. We have a foundation and we can just build on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think, very excited. One thing I'm a little nervous about is, I don't want to jump into the Rashee Rice news too soon, but some of our guys were in the car with him. And
Yeah. We can talk about it now. Let's
Yeah.
just go
No, it's
into
fine.
it.
We'll go into it. We can come back to football if we need to, but it's not a good look.
No.
It's not a good look. It's definitely disappointing. Yeah. I wish it hadn't happened,
And I mean,
obviously.
honestly,
but
like we don't know the whole story, right? And so
Mhm.
I don't want to read into it too much. I think maybe more of the blame should lie with Rashee Rice because he's the big guy in the
He's
NFL.
older,
Like,
exactly.
he should be the more responsible one. Like these guys probably
One they
really
look
look
up
up
to.
to him, and like probably could easily be pressured into
exactly.
whatever just because they want to be around him because he is a cool guy to them. And
Yeah. Same with Danny Gray. I think he was there as well. So both those guys had been in the NFL and should,
Oh, wow.
Mhm.
yeah,
should have been leaders.
yeah, for sure.
Mm.
So and he's owned up to it. So kudos to him. He's owned up to it. He's cooperating with police, but it's definitely did not
You
put
hate- yeah, you
himself
hate
in
to
the
hear
best situation there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like really close to campus too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 75 in university. So
Oh, yikes.
yeah, but I just hate to hear it. I mean, I hope that they work with the police like they have been so far,
Right.
and that everything is treated justly, and
And I know 2 people were in the hospital, but I think they're out now, recovering at home.
I think they were
everyone's fine.
minor injuries.
Yeah. And praise God, no one was really awfully hurt,
Mhm.
yeah,
and no
absolutely.
one died. So hopefully, obviously not a good situation, but could have been a lot worse.
yeah.
Now it looks like maybe allegedly there may have been drugs in the car as well, and now that's a whole nother deal.
Weapons,
but
Yeah, that's a whole nother
and weapons
issue.
too.
Yeah.
Just bad decisions. So hopefully,
Yeah.
and hopefully none of the guys on the team. I think there were. I don't want to say too much. We don't know anything, but apparently there could have been a couple guys on the team who were there with them, and that would be just very disappointing if some of our stars are missing out because of off the field behavior.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, just poor decision making all around, including racing on 75. If I were to race on a highway in Dallas, that would not be the one.
Yeah, 635 tollway is the best place
Yes.
to race.
Anywhere else? Any other
I
suggestions?
think the northern part of the tollway
Yeah.
is better.
It
At
is.
least everyone's going fast there.
That's true.
Going 100
People
miles
are
an hour.
already racing on it.
Exactly, yeah.
every day.
That's true.
Yeah.
And depending on the time you go, you can get a pretty open highway there. Not recommending.
Yeah,
But the
don't actually race.
noon on
But
Saturday is not the best
Hypothetically,
time.
No.
well, have you ever seen those motorcycle racers on the 635 Expressway?
Yeah.
Crazy.
There's the quick trip, right by your house. That quick trip
Mhm.
is where all the street racers meet up.
Oh, really?
They meet up there. They're like, all right, you want to race? You want to race? All right, well, let's go. And they get on 635, the
Oh my
underground
gosh.
portion, and they race.
Yeah, I hate to be Karen, but it makes me so mad because they slow they slow everything down to like 30 miles an hour and block traffic. I'm like,
Oh,
I'm
just keep
paying,
up, man.
I'm paying to be on this road. Okay, I'm paying to not have a speed. It has a speed limit, but if you're paying for it, there's no speed limit. So
I like that.
yeah. So that kind of
Just keep up, man. Go fast. That
They block
F-150
the
not go
road.
that fast?
F-150, it'll do something. It won't go as fast as those motorcycles, though.
Yeah.
Hypothetically, it caps out at 100 miles an hour. I read that online somewhere.
Ever gotten anywhere close to that?
No, never. And definitely not on the 635 expressway.
Definitely not.
No.
Right.
Wait,
Oh,
speaking of highways, this has nothing to do with this, but this is just one of my pet peeves. I am of the firm belief if I were to become president or like a politician, my first thing that I would do is no international, not international, but what are they called? Like major highways? Like what are they called?
Interstates?
Interstates, thank you. No interstate highway should be less than 70 miles per hour. 35 in the middle of Dallas is 60. People are going like 85. Like it needs to be 70.
I mean, they don't care. People don't care.
That's what I'm saying. 60.
And no one enforces it.
Yeah, nobody enforces.
That's
it.
good. But it should be 70. I just hate like driving through a 60-mile-per-hour speed limit on the
Live
highway.
from Fondren Library, the Mustang Mood, your favorite traffic podcast.
Yeah. Anyways, I just needed to air my grievance.
That's
No,
fine.
I think we should talk more about traffic.
Okay.
These potholes, man, are getting out of control.
it is getting worse, actually. I think so. Anyways, we can move on.
I
back
wanted
to
to say two more things about football. Number one, 66. Yao. We did not see him once on the field. He could be Yao Ming's cousin or something, and we didn't see him once.
No, he did get
he's
on once.
consistent.
He
Oh,
did
he
get
did?
on once.
Okay.
Yeah, it was in the
He's
third
consistent
quarter.
about his sideline performance. He's a great influence on the team.
Yeah.
He was really
I
cheering
want to
people
see.
on.
I want to
really
see him
was.
on the field.
He was talking to the kids, you know. That was good to see.
Yeah,
Last-
we want to see you on the field.
Last thing, this is for you, Rhett Lashley. Throwing go routes up 13-3 on your own team is not classy. Disrespectful.
He wasn't coaching. Who was coaching the Black?
Oh
Hawks?
yeah,
Cortland
it was,
Sutton.
It was Cortland.
Cortland was the blue. Yeah.
Cortland was
Cortland Sutton, have some respect for your team.
yeah.
We need to be classy.
Just trying to. It was
It's
Prochet on the other
spring
end, right?
football guy.
Yeah, 20
just
seconds
beating-
left, throwing
beating
go
down-
routes.
Yeah,
Okay.
all three of us are screaming because it was a cool play, and then Ben stands up. He's like, "That's classless."
Guys, we have our Lord to represent as Methodists. We're not Methodists, but I'm just kidding.
Are we Southern?
Or we maybe
We're Southern.
Definitely Southern.
we're Southern
Southern.
Methodists for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're iffy about the Methodist part, but definitely Southern.
Definitely Southern.
hmm
Yeah.
We can move on
So-
from that.
Something
We're
weird.
not- I'm serious about Stone Abbey. If he wants to come on the podcast, we'd love to have him. He had this awesome play where he jumped over like
Just
three
the
people.
whole-
Oh my
was
gosh,
awesome.
yeah, that was
It was
sweet.
awesome.
Right at the end of the game.
And anyone who
Again.
rocks the cowboy collar is my best friend. I love it.
Is it coming back?
I mean, Tyler Levine did it.
He did it. Yeah.
Stone.
Speaking of Tyler Levine, I thought that we were going to retire 31. There was another player wearing 31 on the field.
It should be.
Really?
Tyler
Yeah,
Levine,
Jay would wish. Yeah.
Tyler Levine is the greatest football player who's ever worn the number 31.
They
And
should
it
have at
be
least
retired.
like taken a year off. Like, come on. Who's
No
31?
respect.
Somebody tell me who
Hernandez.
31 is. Oh no. it's-
Zach Hernandez.
Zach Hernandez.
Oh no, it's a fellow Hispanic. Never mind. I have to support him. Viva Mexico. Just kidding. Anyways, we love you, Zach Hernandez, but should have.
So, all right,
Oh,
Walker may
man.
want to keep on the Tyler Levine train for a second, but in a minute, do we want to talk about the rule changes?
Yeah, I'd be interested to talk about that. There are 3 different changes this year, right?
It looks like.
Yeah,
From what
so-
you were looking at, it looks like Tyler Levine is the best player to ever wear 31.
Yeah, I
like,
googled
of
it
all
real
time.
quick and I couldn't find
Yeah.
any players. So you
Yeah,
may be
so
right.
Tyler Levine is the GOAT. Okay.
He's the GOAT.
If-
what number
if-
did Dickerson wear? Was he 38, 28?
I don't know.
Something like that. Thought he was in that
I was
range.
just watching the.
him somewhere. I don't know if it's up here. Oh, also sorry if you're watching. My wife wanted to point out that that's her hot dog stuffed animal thing, and it's there because she really loves hot dogs.
It's our. Is that our new
Oh,
mascot? Should we put that in the logo? New logo? Just kidding.
Yeah,
There's some great.
live your favorite hot dog podcast.
The number 1 SMU hot dog podcast by far.
Right here. Yeah,
We have to rate the hot dogs at the new. What am I saying? The new. It's the same stadium. Anyways, sorry.
Yeah.
We said
Do we
rule
even
changes.
have hot dogs?
One bite,
there?
everyone knows
It's
the
all
rule.
just like fancy food. Do we like it's all chain?
Yeah,
I
with
think we
caviar.
do.
Yeah, it's got caviar on top.
On top of the hot dogs, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
It's my favorite.
Hey, speaking of being the number 1 hot dog podcast, we also moved up in SMU sports podcast. We'll come back to the rule changes
Yeah,
in
yeah.
just a minute, but I think this
We
is
wanna do that now?
Yeah,
Okay,
shall we
transition.
share?
Yeah, so at the end of last episode, we said that you can send in a voice memo via our link in the Instagram, I believe, and I think it's also linked in our bio in the
Spotify,
podcast app. And we got a voice memo. We got several, but we're gonna play one of them from Max Levy. Max, thank you for leaving all these voice memos. Unfortunately, most of them were about SMU basketball, and so they've kind of already been answered.
Yep.
You know, so but there was one that we are gonna play here. Right now, if I can figure out how this thing works. All right, here we go.
Okay, for the record, yes, technically there is an SU 247 podcast, but like half of it's left 247, and no one currently is running that site as far as I know. So
That's it.
So we're moving up.
So we're moving up. That's what he's trying. I was about to say. That's what Max was about to say.
We scared Hoffeditz away from 247.
Gone.
He joined on 3. He couldn't take being number 3. He had to be number 1 or number 2, and we're number 2. So.
We're number 2 now. So
Yeah.
we thought we were number 2, went down to number 3, back to number 2. That's improvement.
We're making
It is.
moves. Yeah,
Yeah.
big moves.
So
Watch out on 3.
we're coming for you.
Actually, congratulations, Billy, on your new child.
Yeah.
And happy birthday. That was recent
Yeah.
too. So
Wow. You really keep up with Billy in his personal life.
I guess, yeah. Well, the reason I know about his birth because his wife posted about it on LinkedIn, and he reposted it. I was just on LinkedIn and I saw it. I was like,
His birth or his birthday? Which one?
his birth.
His kid's
His
birth.
son's birth.
His
Yeah, not his birth.
Sorry, his kid. Yeah. I don't know how I knew about his birthday. Maybe it's something on Instagram, I think. Yeah. Somebody said happy birthday on Instagram. Probably on 3 posted it.
Mm-hmm.
Probably. Well, is that just him posting about himself then?
So you don't post happy birthday to yourself on your Instagram?
I guess he does. Yeah. No. Yeah. No.
I don't.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Rule
we're now-
changes. Rule
But yeah,
changes. Yeah.
back to the rule changes.
Yeah, so there's going to be coach to QB helmet mics with, I think, a cutoff at like 15 seconds left in the play clock. There are going to be tablets allowed on sidelines and in the locker room. So like the Microsoft Surface tablets that they have in the NFL where they get to like watch plays back and stuff like that. So we'll get that. And then there's also a 2-minute warning. And we actually saw that in the spring game.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
weird. Everyone like
It was weird.
turned around. It was like, what the heck? What's happening? Why is
Yeah.
there a 2-minute warning?
Yeah. So basically, we're the NFL now because we can play players. We have
No salary
2-minute
cap
warning, but we don't have a salary cap. So,
we're better.
We're better than the NFL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is our time to shine.
I love college football
Oh yeah, it's the best.
It is the best sport in existence.
for sure.
How do you guys think that the mics and the QB helmets are going to change the way that the flow of the game goes?
You know, I do think that it takes a bit of power away from the crowd, you know, because you go to like these crazy, you know, we haven't had very loud home games at SMU, so it's probably doesn't matter for us. But like you think about like the really big schools that have
Death Valley.
just like
or-
these stadiums built to just be so loud and people are just screaming their heads off, and it affects the away team because I mean either they're not prepared for it or they just aren't used to stuff that loud. And
but
so-
communication between the players is still going to be an issue.
Yeah.
You can hear
That's
the
true, that's
coach.
true, that's
You can
true.
hear the coach in your ear.
Because
but,
before it was just hand signals anyways. They didn't necessarily need to hear.
Right.
So
but I think the bigger thing is communicating snap counts and communicating plays
True.
with the other players.
But-
Very true.
You're still going to see the sides.
yeah.
But also, like, I don't know if you guys remember. Oops, sorry.
You're good.
Back in, I think it was Penn State and Michigan, the crowd was so loud before the first play of the game, the coach couldn't get his players' attention when they were trying to change the play. They had to call a timeout before the game, before the first play had even started.
Yeah.
And so stuff like that, I think, is going to change.
But still, even, I mean,
you still
up to the
you
15
still see
second
them
mark.
like
Up to the 15.
like in the NFL. Sometimes they do this where
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they can't
And-
really hear. So
It might still
know.
be back in there.
We
We'll
still
see.
could do it. I think, I mean, our stadium's going to be a bit louder now that they closed the bowl in,
Mhm.
but I still think it's not built to be loud.
it's not Kyle Field.
It's it's not built like Kyle Field or anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that even more so than the crowd, impact on with the helmets, I think one of the biggest things that's also going to change is that plays are going to move faster. Not in ready football, or in the 2-minute drill type stuff. I mean, you're not talking to the coach at all for that anyway, for the most part. But just generally speaking, you're giving less time for the defense to set up because they're going to hear the plays, hear what they're calling real early, say it real quick, and they'll be able to move the plays much more quickly, I think, and have the defense have less time to get ready.
Yeah, that's true. And I think it's good for us because we tend to play fast anyways. So it'll
Yeah.
just help us play faster. Yeah. Because I know Rhett likes to play fast and it's fun to watch too. So I think it'll make the game more engaging. It'll
Play
help
into
our
our strengths.
offense. Yeah, play to
Yeah.
our strengths. So I'm on board with that.
Honestly, I think the games have gotten entirely too long.
Oh my
They're-
god.
They're getting dragged
And they're
out.
getting longer because of the 2-minute one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just another opportunity to play commercials.
It's the
That's-
commercials.
That's the
Stupid
worst part.
commercials.
It's unbearable to watch on TV, and it's hard to sit in the stadium and twiddle your thumbs.
Especially when it's 11 a.m. game.
2 minutes and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Yeah, hopefully we don't have very many of those this season, but
Yeah.
Less
yeah.
commercials would be great.
Less
but
commercials
I
would
don't
be
see that
great.
happening anytime
No.
soon.
You
Not
know,
with
it's
the
all
way
about
this
Too much
it's
money
going.
in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got to pay the player somehow.
I did see today that the FSU their lawsuit got, I think it was upheld. Or FSU asked Florida, like the state of Florida, to just completely remove the ACC's case from their from consideration, but they upheld it. So there's now like a countersuit. I think that's my understanding.
With the ACC suing Florida State,
Yeah, sorry, I got there from the money from the commercials.
Wow, kicking them all down.
Sorry, let me follow me on this thought train. But yeah, so there's still I think there's a big legal battle that's definitely going to be happening.
What about
I don't think
Clemson?
they're going to leave.
I think Clemson.
Oh, that's interesting, actually.
There's not as much progress on that case. So
So Walker just said you don't think they're
I
going to
don't think
leave
they're
at
going to
all?
leave, yeah. Well, I mean, I think they're going to leave eventually, but I think they're going to wait until their buyout gets a bit lower to where they can afford it. And it's not all of their endowment.
right,
You know?
yeah, they don't need to go into debt to Saudi princes to get out of the grantor rights.
Okay.
So,
Well, what do you guys think?
I think it'd be really bad for the conference if they left. And
We'll fully agree.
It's not the
But do you
question.
think they will leave? That's the question. Do you think they're going to get out?
they're going to get out
in the
as
next
soon as
like
they possibly
year,
can.
Yeah. Year, 2 years.
For sure.
So you think they will be out? Okay.
I can't imagine them staying. Well, we'll see. I don't understand the legal battle 100%, but I don't know how well the contract's written. But if it's not written that well, and if they can get out of it, they're going to get out of it.
From my understanding, it's these contracts are pretty ironclad, but with the way that the countersuits were, I was listening to this lawyer had called in on another podcast. I think it was Crane and Company, and he was talking through with them about how like Florida has essentially
Live from Fondren Library. We just had some technical difficulties. Almost burnt my house down, but welcome back.
The
Sorry.
best fireworks podcast
Sorry.
in SMU history.
We're doing this for you.
Yeah.
We almost died because we love you.
Yeah.
And we love SMU.
So sorry for that quick jump cut there and then allowed to.
No. Yonnic has to sing it. He's the loser.
That's right. Oh wait, no, hold on. Should we? Are we going to save that for the end,
well,
Yeah, let's save
I
it
think
for
yeah. Let's save it for later.
or should we just do it in a different
punch
episode? Because the tournament's technically not over.
I think
know
it's-
he's
Well,
lost.
Yonnic is lost.
See,
He has
they're
lost.
just beating me even before it's over. They're just trying to kick me while I'm down.
He
'cause
lost,
They know
though.
that I've
Yannick
lost,
lost.
this.
I mean, if you pick A&M to win the March Madness tournament,
They went to overtime with Houston, and this would be a wildly different tournament if they won. Just throwing that out there. Everyone else in the chat was panicking when it went to overtime because they were down 13 with a minute and a half left. So I just want to say that there were a lot of sweating people
Nah,
in our group.
That's pretty cool.
Jay was cool. Everyone else was
They
sweating.
would have lost to NC State anyway.
Also true. Wild to see NC State's men and women's. Anyway, moving on.
The women just lost.
yeah.
Did they?
Yeah.
It's kind of sad. It was kind of an iconic storyline.
Yeah. Well, UConn can still do it.
UConn can still
It's
do
crazy that two of the team. Anyway, this is beside the point.
Yeah. This is not SMU
The number
related.
one SMU, UConn, and NC State. Well, you know what? Shout out to NC State. They're the ones
Seriously.
that flipped their vote to let us into the ACC.
yeah.
Facts.
Also true.
I'm an
NC
point.
State fan, that's for sure.
We are
Exactly.
rooting for you
I
guys.
forgot about that. Yeah, I need to cheer for them now.
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah.
Big FU to UNC. I like it because they were supposed to stay with them.
Yeah.
We love you.
But anyway, so back to we were talking about the Florida State. So first, I want to finish asking what everyone thinks about if they're going to get out. Walker said that he thinks they're going to stay. FSU's going to stay for a little bit. Jay says they're going to be out.
I think they're ultimately going to be out. Yep.
And out when we say out, not like out,
Before
ever,
2036 or whatever it is.
But, okay, so you think it's going to be, but later on.
I agree. I don't think they're going to be.
I mean, obviously,
I don't
they're
think
going to
they're
play
gonna-
football with us this year.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to stay
just say
through the
3
whole
years.
life of the contract.
But let's just say 3
A few
years. Like
years.
2027,
I would
2028.
think-
Do you think they're going to be gone by then? That's the question. Because that's a short term versus 2036 is a long time. I mean, they could leave 2033. Sure, no problem.
I
Doesn't
think
matter.
ultimately in the next 3 to 5 years, they'll probably be out of the conference.
And that's pretty soon. For these kind of things, that's going to be
Yeah.
pretty soon.
Or at least like have a plan to get out in the short term from that point. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I will answer your question, answering my own question. SMU community, shame on you for letting somebody wearing a Jordan Travis Florida State shirt into our spring game today. I almost knocked him out, but he's underage and I would have gotten arrested for it.
Was that you see that on the way to the bathroom when you puked?
Yes.
Yeah. And it made him
Yes.
go back to puke again.
Yeah.
Actually.
I was on my way back and then I had to go back. Well, I puked, but I also was like, I had to pray and calm myself down and say, I cannot assault a teenager.
That's yeah. It took some real restraint there.
This podcast exists because of Ben.
Yes.
That is
I
true.
was upset when I saw it, and I said, how did we let this kid in? And nobody said anything. Well, somebody could have said something to him. I
You
should have
just
said
like
something.
screamed it, right?
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
You just looked around.
Let this kid in.
Yeah. I said, take off your shirt right now, or
Well, you said that to a kid.
no, I didn't.
Oh man.
Hey, he was a guy. Okay. It was a boy.
How'd you know that?
No.
That's a good point. I asked him what his pronouns were first. He said he, his, and then I said, okay, take the shirt off, buddy.
So anyway, Florida State. From my understanding, I was listening to Crane and Company talk about the Florida State, lawsuits because the ACC had countersued, and from my understanding, Florida, the state of Florida, not Florida State, but the state of Florida doesn't allow non-competes, which is essentially what they're trying to get out of. Because, them trying to leave the ACC and join, SEC, Big Ten, doesn't matter. They're essentially breaking the non-compete contract that they had signed, and Florida doesn't allow those, is what this lawyer had called in on Crane and Company was talking about. And so he was saying that they have a case. They have a case to get out of it. The question is what's gonna happen with this, because this is basically unprecedented. All these conferences are cross state lines. You've got colleges from all over the place, and these contracts are meant to be ironclad. They have like the best attorneys in the country working on them, and so if you can just throw them out because your state says, oh, we don't do non-competes, that's just going to shatter any non-compete clause. The contract was literally put in place to prevent this. It was put in as a safeguard to prevent the ACC from collapsing should somebody decide to jump ship later on. Yeah. And that's exactly what Florida State's doing. Florida State's saying, hey, we don't like the situation. We want to jump ship. This contract was literally put in place to stop teams from doing exactly that. And so we're really in unprecedented waters. And whatever happens with this is just going to be a watershed moment. If they let Florida State out, early like this, then it's going to, any kind of these contracts that are in place are just, they're going to be almost worthless because anybody's going to be able to get out of them.
It's going to cause a lot of problems.
It's going to cause a lot of problems in college football.
And as our legal expert, can I ask you a question?
I'm no legal expert. This is
legal advice. You should definitely follow
Let
it.
me ask you a question. Who signed the contract?
Florida State, if I recall.
Do you think they would have known, what they were agreeing to?
Yeah, no, Florida State knew what they were agreeing to. The difference is that I don't think that people understood at the time because they signed it for a really long time. It was I think one of the longest contracts that was signed.
We didn't know it was going to happen.
And they didn't know that college football was going to explode the way that it did.
Yeah.
And so it's just, they basically made a bad decision. It kind of is reminiscent, if anybody watched The Last Dance, Scottie Pippen made this really long contract, locked it in early, and the Florida State did the exact same thing. They locked themselves into a really long contract where they didn't make a ton of money.
And then the money increased.
The money increased.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the league. Scottie Pippen at the time that they were winning championships, he's like the 122nd most paid player in the NBA, and he was probably the third best player in the NBA. It was something crazy like that.
Yeah,
Same thing's happening with Florida State.
They're
They
not the
basically
third best football team, though.
No, they're not. They're not. But they made a bad decision because they didn't know the future, which happens, and now they just went out, which is, they agreed to not get out, and now they're wanting out. It's just, but we'll see what happens. We're in unprecedented waters. It's going to shake the whole college football world if they get out.
I would really like to see a complete change in the structure of how conferences and really college football is played. If Clemson and Florida State leave, I want to do away with everything. Get rid of the SEC, get rid of the Big Ten. Let's regionalize it.
Relegation.
In relegation.
Leagues,
Exactly.
yeah.
Let's have 5 power conferences, 5 minor conferences. You're only eligible to win the national championship if you're in the power conference, and go like that. I think
It'd be fun.
it'd be a lot more fun. It'd make a lot more sense.
It'd be more college-y,
Exactly. Yeah.
Do you need
that makes
5
sense.
power conferences, or do you think 4?
4 would
5?
be fine. I don't know. It would depend on the numbers. I don't want to get 25 seems like too many teams to be in a conference, and so
Yes, it does.
I think that's what we don't want is like 2 super conferences where it's all the rich schools. The rich, okay, we wouldn't be counted in that. We are a rich school, but like all the big boys, it's like they're the only ones that can ever win. That's what makes college. I know it's a different game, but college basketball is great because NC State can make a run. That doesn't happen in football as much, and especially with the way we're headed, it's going to take away the likelihood even more. And like nobody wants that. Like it's not the NFL. We don't want that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Also, just rivalries being broken apart is
Yeah.
a hard thing.
Yeah.
It
sucks.
There's a lot of them being broken.
love
That's
to see A&M and UT come back, but missing out on things like OU and Oklahoma State, or
Bedlam.
or Cal and all these Cal and UCLA or USC and
Yeah,
like these. Like,
most of them are breaking. The UT A&M is more unique, but most of them are we're seeing more break aparts than we're seeing
exactly.
rivalries come back.
UT A&M is the only one I can think of.
It's the only one I can think of
coming
right
back.
now. Yeah.
Oregon State is falling apart.
Yeah.
It's Washington
Yeah.
State.
I mean, it creates room for new rivalries, but it is like
But Rutgers
the history.
and
But we don't
UCLA
need-
is just not the football game that
we
I
don't need new
care about.
rivalries.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the thing is that we really don't, because a lot of these rivalries are 100 years old.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
why throw out
And
100
that's what we
years?
want. Yeah.
SMU TCU.
Literally 103 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, football's really only been like an American sport since the early 1900s. That's a little over 100 years. So these are basically since the inception of college football as an American sport.
And now they're
we're
breaking
throwing them
apart.
out. Just doesn't make
Because
sense.
It's
of-
ridiculous.
Money.
Yeah.
It's all
But-
about money.
But we can do it with money and keep these things alive. Like, I don't think that these things should be mutually exclusive. Like, we can have SMU and TCU play every year. Like, it is only
Yeah.
because the Big 12 doesn't want us in the Big 12 that is not going to happen in a regular basis. And
Yeah.
it's only because A&M thought they could make more money in the SEC that they left and, don't play, I guess, Baylor or Tech or these, Big 12 teams anymore. But the reason things fall apart is because of money. But why can't we have both?
Yeah. Do you guys think that these super conferences, the Big Ten, SEC, like, do you think they're going to last in the long run, or do you think they're going to break apart because they're too big?
I hope they break apart.
I don't think they're gonna though.
I think there's some weakness in it, in the fact that we're missing out on these things. These things that people love about college football are kind of disappearing. And so I think if we see things, if the money starts to settle down, then it'll fall apart. But I'm not sure the money will settle down anytime soon.
Yeah.
But I would love to see it. I think relegation would be a great way to do it. I think we just need to regionalize college football more, because once again, UCLA and Rutgers shouldn't be in the same conference. I'll say it. UCLA and Rutgers, Stanford and Miami shouldn't be in the same conference. So
I agree.
What about SMU and Miami?
listen,
We
should.
SMU has
Yeah,
always been
yeah.
on the Atlantic
that
coast.
makes sense.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
We are
we're-
centralized, so it's
We're on the coast, right?
I mean, White Rock Lake.
a beautiful lake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think only like Kansas is less coastal than we are.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the best fit. It's just a name of a conference, though.
Yeah, that is true.
I'm excited. I think the ACC could have some good rivalries in it with SMU. I think we fit in with teams like Wake Forest and Duke, Georgia Tech.
Mhm.
I think that could be very exciting. Syracuse.
Mm-hmm.
I think those could be. Not saying that that's a regional rivalry, but I think
It could be fun.
they could be fun. But would I rather be playing Tech and TCU and
Yes.
and A&M? Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
If you gave me the option to have the world of college football we're in right now, or bring back the Southwest Conference, I think I would take the Southwest Conference.
See, and
Yeah.
that's something that
That'd
I
be
was
awesome.
thinking about. I think in the long run, and when I say long run, I think within the next probably over 20 years, it's probably going to take, it's going to take at least a decade, probably longer. But I think that we are going to have a massive restructuring of the conferences, because if you think about it as just from a fan's perspective, how far are you willing to travel? Like, if we went and played Stanford, as a fan going to go all the way out there,
Sounds fun, honestly.
it sounds fun, but how many can do it?
not many.
Not many.
Yeah.
Whereas, TCU, SMU, everybody can go. You go to SMU, everybody can go.
Yeah.
And even places like when if we play A&M in College Station, or we play even Texas Tech, that's a drive out there, but it's not California. It's
Exactly.
just
It's a drive. It's not.
I would do a trip to Tech.
I would do a trip to Tech too.
Yeah, if we're playing Lubbock,
Well, yeah, you
100%.
would. Yeah,
Throw
for
some
sure.
I mean, but
tortillas, yeah.
Exactly.
even if we're playing in Arkansas, or like when we played OU last year.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
yeah,
we went.
100%.
Yeah.
Was that
So-
3-4 hours? It's
It was like
Three.
Yeah, something like
it's like
that.
3.
2.5,
So
yeah.
And so these kind of things, I think in the long run, it's going to end up pushing these conferences to break apart again. And also you've got a lot of big egos. I mean, back when UT was running, what was it before the Big 12, or was it in the Big 12 where they had the contract that basically where they got most of the money,
Yeah.
and everyone else was kind of the little brothers to it. You've got a lot of big egos in the SEC and the Big 10, and those egos are going to really rub up against each other.
That's true. I mean, the conference may not be big enough for all of them,
And I don't think it is. I think when you got UT, Alabama, Georgia, OU, A&M. I mean, all these schools, they think that they should be the best. They should be number one.
Don't criticize OU.
Well,
Bro,
I'm just saying, like they're all power teams.
Live from Fondren Library, the Mustang Mood, your number one OU sports podcast.
Boomer, baby. Let's go.
Shut up.
But these big egos, I don't think they're going to be able to last in the long run. I think they're going to be fine for a little bit because everyone's getting into the playoffs early, but eventually the big egos they want to be the top dog.
I think a lot's going to change. It just seems like it's kind of like been a domino effect where like now we have Nick Saban advocating for NIL changes, and I just think there's going to be a lot more that's going to change.
I agree.
Hopefully for the better, because right now some of the things are questionable, as if they're.
It's a little bit of the Wild West.
Yeah.
UT, Alabama, LSU, OU. They can only handle a few seasons of going 5-7, and
yeah,
like,
and then the fans are going to be screaming.
I mean, someone has to lose in these games.
It's true.
That's the thing is, yeah.
Well, that's why they keep all those small schools in the conference.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
like
the
Vanderbilt?
Citadel, the official member of the SEC, the Citadel. Oh man, I think a lot is going to change in the next few years. Including these rules. I'm not opposed to any of them.
Maybe the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, the 2-minute warning
makes the game longer.
Yeah, but I'm not opposed to any of them. Same with the NIT rules that they were trying out for basketball next season. It didn't seem bad. Nothing changed all that much.
Yeah.
So definitely okay with that. But okay. I'm worried about the future of college football. I definitely think it's not the same thing that I grew up with it being, and that's not necessarily bad, but
it's different.
It's not the thing that we fell in love with. Yeah,
yeah.
There's a lot of unknown.
Yeah,
and so I think it all starts with how this lawsuit ends up. Whether Florida State and Clemson can get out of the grant of rights, then that's kind of the first
we'll see what happens.
That'd be the biggest domino to fall this fall.
And NIL, whatever happens with NIL.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Yeah,
I think you're definitely right. Not to steal from Walker, because this is actually, I think it's his note that he did, but for the bowl games, because Jay was just saying about how it's not the college football he grew up with, and he's absolutely right. Like the bowl games just don't seem to matter.
Yeah, just don't care that much anymore.
Like nobody cares about them anymore, which to me, that's really sad. Like I liked bowl games, and now that they don't matter, it makes me sad.
Weren't we talking about them being like preseason games for the next year? Basically,
they are.
Like you just play the young guys for next year, get them ready. Like it's not really
all your good players are opting out.
Yeah, all the guys that are going to go draft or whatever, they're just like, I don't care. I'm not going to play. Doesn't matter.
It's not worth the injury.
Yeah.
Or the risk of injury.
I don't know what we do to fix that though.
I think at this point it's too far broke. I don't think you can fix it.
Yeah.
It's just
end of season rivalry games.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think that just the fact that it's after the season now and it's not playoff, because now we're now into like a March Madness style like playoff with 12 teams.
Yeah.
That I think it's just nobody's going to care enough. It's not going to matter enough.
Yeah.
I mean, like the NIT, like people don't, like a lot of people opt out of the NIT now.
Exactly. They're just saying, I don't want to go. It's not worth it.
Yeah. Hey, listeners, let us know what you would do to fix bowl games. I'm very interested in this because I don't want bowl games to die.
Yeah.
I loved,
Yeah, they're fun.
I remember thinking back, coming to the Ticket City Bowl at the Cotton Bowl in Dallas. Texas Tech played Northwestern, and it was pretty full. It was a good time. Like people cared about this game. It was a privilege to go to a bowl game. I think part of it is there's too many bowl games now. Mm-hmm. If you have a losing record, you should never be allowed to go to a bowl game. All right. I'm sorry, ESPN, but we're gonna have to cancel a bowl game because we didn't have enough teams winning seasons to fill out to fill out the
that's a good requirement
bowl schedule. I think that's
you got to go at least 6-6.
And otherwise, like, what are you striving for?
I'm not even sure 6-6. I would up it from there.
7-5.
Ben,
could have sworn I turned off all my alarm. And what's worse is this one is. Oh, it doesn't matter.
No, but I like that though. Having a 7-5, like you need to have an above 500. That just makes sense. Like you should be if you're not having a winning season, then why are you getting rewarded? You need to have a winning season.
True.
And there should be none above. I don't know where we would draw the line, but we should not have bowl games in Boston in the winter.
Yeah. No, it doesn't make any sense.
At a baseball stadium.
Stadium. Outside, right? Okay, we can play at the USA Bank Stadium or in the Syracuse bowl or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
That's fine. In a dome, I'd make an exception for it, but that should be unacceptable.
I also think we need to crack down on our sponsors. Nobody wants to win
Wasabi.
the Wasabi Fenway Bowl, and nobody
The
wants
Scooters
to
Frisco
win
Bowl.
the Jimmy Kimmel, whatever it was. I don't care. All I know is Jimmy Kimmel. I don't care. I don't like Jimmy Kimmel, and I don't want it, you know?
Yeah.
Anyways, speaking of things I don't like, I feel the need to just hate on TCU. Can we do that now?
Yeah, I think we should close out with that.
Yeah.
All right.
Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we'll finish, and then Yonnic will sing. And
This
then
guy.
Then we'll finish. Then
Well,
we'll
then
get
we're
out
done.
of here.
Remind me what I'm singing, because I actually don't know what my punishment was.
The Alma Mater.
Oh, so I'm just singing the Alma Mater.
Yeah.
By yourself.
acapella.
All
It's going to be really awkward.
Okay, yeah.
Listeners,
Hey,
we'll
you can
warn
leave,
you before.
honestly.
You can skip it.
Yeah,
but
you can just leave.
we don't want to punish you guys, but we do want to punish y'all.
Well, it's got to be real, though. We got to put it everywhere.
Oh, yeah. No, it's going.
Yeah.
It's going up for sure.
It's okay. I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not that embarrassed.
So this
Tell us what you think about
necessarily.
TCU.
What if you were
Yeah,
wearing a diaper?
in fact, I'm
Ben, shut
proud of
up.
SMU. I am proud of SMU. So I am willing to sing the Alma
That's
Mater.
so funny.
Okay.
Yes.
So proud that he has to look up the lyrics.
TCU to close.
Oh, I think
out.
I can do it, but I just didn't want to mess myself up if I need
No,
to
that's
glance
good. Yeah,
down,
you
just in
don't-
case.
No,
don't
it's
run.
got to be embarrassing. You cannot look at the lyrics.
No, I'll let him look at the lyrics.
It's literally a paragraph,
I'm
guys.
trying.
Yeah, it's all right.
It should be easy.
Okay.
But you can't speed through it. when we
No,
get
no,
to
I'll
You
do
gotta-
it.
you
I'll
actually
do
have
it
to
like
sing
the
it.
intonations and everything.
I'm gonna click
Yeah, yeah.
here. I'm gonna put a metronome on.
Yeah. So okay. So this episode's TCU hate, not necessarily directed at TCU, but I just think in general it should be illegal to have a TCU logo presented anywhere in the city of Dallas.
Yes.
Yep.
I know we have the First Amendment, and I know it's very important, but like, can we just like make like a little exception?
I think
You
so.
know, any car with a TCU sticker on it, there should be like a checkpoint.
Slash their tires or what?
Well, no, we don't have to do that. But there's just like a checkpoint when you enter the city where you just have to like slap on like a black magnet over it or something.
Yep.
Just cover it up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like TCU flags in front of houses, illegal.
Yes.
It
Agreed.
ruins my day seeing those stickers.
Dude, it makes me so
mad. It does. It ruins my
Irrationally
day.
angry.
You're in the city of
Like
Dallas.
you're literally in Dallas. And like TCU, if you want to say no SMU logos in the Fort Worth,
in Fort
that's
Worth?
fine.
That's fine.
Because as an SMU person, and I right here I speak for all other SMU people, we have no desire to live in Fort Worth.
That is
Facts.
that is
Amen.
true.
Okay.
That
So
is
I'm
true.
fine with that. It won't affect anyone.
Well,
But
it
you
affects
can
them
make
because they want to be here, but they
Yeah.
don't want to be there.
no like their rule.
That's
Like,
what they get.
If
Yeah,
they,
yeah.
They chose to go to school in Fort Worth.
That is
Yeah.
true.
No one
it is their
forced them to.
choice. So,
Oh,
Yeah. So that's just my take.
The devil.
You know,
just kidding.
I just want to stop seeing logos. Like,
It really bothers me.
yeah.
Man, throwback to when they made the national championship run and Barley raised the flag in front of the
Oh
bar.
my god.
The city was about to burn down.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was
knew
that's
that.
pretty embarrassing.
Yeah. But
That's-
I
that's a no-go.
definitely believe that my feelings are more important than other people's freedom, especially in this circumstance.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, absolutely.
Well, isn't society all about your truth nowadays? How do you
Yeah,
feel?
well, I don't
no,
wanna
this is objectively true that
Yeah.
TCU sucks.
Yeah. and-
And I think that's something that probably the majority of the nation can accept. Actually, I think most of them agree with us. Frankly,
What
it's
if
just TCU fans that don't?
What if my pronouns are I hate TCU?
That's
They
okay.
can't say
Yeah,
anything, right?
Honestly, put that in your
But
Bible.
how can anybody disagree with that? Those are my pronouns.
You're gonna get us in trouble, Ben. All right.
That's fine.
Ben
So,
likes to play on the edge.
To close this out before
That's fine.
Yonnic sings, leave comments, leave a review, leave voice memos. Their links are on Instagram. They're on our Spotify page, just in the app, in our bio. So leave voice memos. We'll play it just like we played this episode. We'll respond to comments if we get them.
Yeah.
We love seeing you guys responding and interacting with us. It's super fun.
Yeah.
Check out our Instagram page. We post reels of this. You can see our faces. You can see funny
Mhm.
clips of us. Like it, share it.
And YouTube
Great.
too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
we're on
on
YouTube,
YouTube.
as
Yep.
well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And specifically, this is just my little thing. If you guys want to comment on the Florida State Clemson thing, that's going to affect SMU a whole lot in the future. Love to hear some comments and voice
Yeah.
memos on that because I think that's one of the most fascinating topics going into this next football season.
It'll be
That's my
very
little piece.
interesting.
All right. Well, if you don't want to hear Yonnic sing, feel free to leave now.
You should.
Ben's got something to say.
No, I'm just
Or
putting my
you gotta
pony.
pause
Hey,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
just he's just getting ready.
All right.
All
Here we
right, ready?
go.
3, 2, 1. Oh, we see the varsity, 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 as she towers o'er the hill. over there.
I really want to sing along.
I don't know where it is.
Me too.
And our hearts are filled with joy. SMU, SMU, Alma Mater, I'll be true forever.
Beat the hell out of the University
That-
of Nevada.
Yeah!
Good job.
was
Yonnic.
really good, actually.
Thank you.
While you were singing, my wife, who's upstairs, texted me, "Why the f are you singing?"
I'm sorry,
I love you,
Erica.
Eric. I love you, Erica. Good job. All right, bye, guys.
Love you.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of The Mustang Mood. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow us on Instagram.
In
Good
the
voice.
Big D.
Your favorite podcast in the Big D.